All right, hello, and welcome to day 2 of our Leadership Foundations Masterclass. So we are gonna dive right in. There has been some tremendously amazing work being done by this crew. So yesterday we talked a lot about the foundational pieces that we need for beginning our leadership. So we're going to start there. Welcome, Christiane. Welcome, Michelle. Good to see you on here. I'll give you all a couple minutes to pop on. I know Facebook is a funny thing, right? This whole training in Facebook is a funny thing, but we're trying it out. Hopefully you're enjoying the platform. Yes, hello. Another Michelle just popped on. Hello to you. Let me know who is here today. Who is here? Let me know that you are here. Lily is here. Trisha's here. Michelle Wentz is here. Hello. Caroline, welcome back. Today is day 2, and I'm Dawn Reby, CEO of Excellence in Analytics, and we're going to plow through more leadership strategies. So we're building the foundation right now, and then we're going to move it forward. Ria's here. Hello, Lucy's here. Who else is here with us today? I see Kaylee here. Hello. I am so impressed. Our team is so impressed with the great work that you all are doing. Andy is here, Alicia's here, Kim is here. Howdy. Welcome. Glad you are here. So today is leadership mindset. Jessica and Ashley and Lisa, good morning to you. Alex is here as well. Yes, Jen, nice to see you. Welcome back. Junior is popping on in. Who else is joining us live? So if you're here live, fantastic. We love seeing you live, Rachel and Ashley. And if you are here on the replay, go ahead and let us know that you are listening in on the replay. Good morning, Erin. At least, I think it might be good afternoon for me, for some people here, but good morning to you. Jessica's here, Tanya. Hello, Tanya. Good to see you. And Melissa, is here from Texas, I believe. Shani is here. Carol, Fitzy, you are here too. So good to see you, Fitzy. And Junior Mitchell, good day from Trinidad. Oh, I just love it. What time is it in Trinidad right now? You let me know. Hello, MJ, good to see you. Victor and Abigail, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome. So yesterday we talked about the fundamental characteristics, right? Key things that we need to really, move ourselves forward in the kind of leaders we want to be. Hi, Erica. Hi, Victor. Hello, Mallory. And so, we did the rating project, right? We did the rating project where we rated our influence, right? And so we actually have a speaker coming up, I want to say in a month. We have a David Mather, and he talks all about culture, right? Creating these really creative, fun, innovative cultures in our work environments. And so he popped on and he checked out our scaling system, which is a strategy that he uses in some leadership programming. And, we did 1 to 10. He called his 1, I should never have been promoted. My influence is 1. I should never have been promoted. All the way up to 10. It feels like you are walking across a pool on a summer day and you're not even getting wet, right? The influence is just there. You're on cloud 9, right? So how did you do? How did folks here do really rating your influence? Some of you, and I'm going to go through some of your comments because they were phenomenal, right? Our team has been combing through them. Really, we want to give you the support that you need to grow and to lead in your leadership. And there were a couple of themes that came out that I want to share with you, relative to rating your influence. And so one of the themes that came out was, I'm not a leader yet, right? I'm not a supervisor yet, therefore I'm not a leader. One of the things that I'm hoping is becoming more and more clear in this training series is that you don't have to have the title to be a leader in order to be a leader. You don't have to have the title of supervisor to begin to build your leadership. In fact, a lot of people who are placed in management would have done a lot better if they would have been building their leadership prior to taking on the position. And so that's why, and we'll touch on this a little bit later on in the week, but that's why we really want to give opportunity to our staff to practice leadership in their roles, even though they're not a supervisor quite yet. Right? So no, you do not have to have the title of supervisor in order to be a leader, right? You could have the title of business owner and you are a leader. You could have the title of crime analyst and you are the CEO of that unit, right? Even if there's 20 other people, you are the CEO. You could have the title of, admin, OM, whatever it is for you. We have a couple people here who are running construction companies, right? And so they might be running a division within that construction company. So truly, your title doesn't matter. Your title doesn't matter. And I'm going to show you some really good examples of creating influence. Hey, good morning, Annie, Nick. Yes, day 2. Glad to see all of you popping on here. Fantastic. So I wanted to make that clear that you do not have to have a title to be a leader. In fact, you should be thinking about leadership at a very young age. Right? I remember when I was a kid, we went to a YMCA and we had leadership programming that we went to. We went off on a little, camping trip and we became leaders on that camping trip, right? So leadership starts now, right? So if you have not been a leader before, if you don't have the title of supervisor, or if you do, leadership starts today, okay? Leadership starts today. So hopefully that's out of the way. So you can gain influence, right, by exercising and growing several of your key characteristics. Think about the influence that you have with your friends and your family and the people you care about, right? And so when you come from an authentic place, when you come from a place of service, when you come from a place that's really true, right, to living this really beautiful journey, when you come from that place of authority, of confidence, of professionalism, you can lead in a career regardless of your title, okay? Regardless of your title. Welcome, Robin. Glad that you are jumping in for day 2. So I wanted to just walk through some of the feedback because, what's becoming, as we build out and as we perform and deliver, rather, these trainings over and over again, we see the same thing. We see, leaders lacking confidence. And it's not because you did anything wrong. It might be because you feel like a sandwich, right? Squished between the managers up here and your people here. And you're just like, I'm getting it from every angle. Am I doing my job? Am I even the one that's supposed to be in this position, right? And so sometimes, what we see over and over again is this confidence piece. And so we're going to spend some time on that, how to think like a leader today. But before we do that, I did want to go over a couple of fun things. We have some great responses. Did everyone find Unit 1 where you were supposed to throw in your homework? Because I want to say there's some great feedback over there. If you haven't looked already, you definitely want to go to Unit 1 and take a look at yesterday's recap and see what other leaders and growing leaders are saying. So Sally, talked about rest, right? Leadership is wider than our core professional role. 100% leadership is wider than your core professional role. So when you think of leadership, you really kind of want to have this holistic approach, right? One of the things that we stand for immensely in all of our programming is leadership of self. That is one of the key pillars every single time. When you are a leader of self, you are taking excellent care of yourself. You are implementing habits and practices that are really moving you forward in your personal journey, right? In a very constructive and healthy way. And then others are seeing that. And you're happier along the way. But if you are working till your knuckles are bleeding and your people are working till their knuckles are bleeding and no one's taking care of themselves, everyone's going to get burnt out, including you. So leadership of self must be a top priority. Really thinking about the things in your world that, are meaningful and approaching them the same way you do leadership, with intention, with planning, with precision, with evaluation, right? So Sally, you hit that one right on the head. Sally, oh, good, she just popped on. So Sally, you hit that one right on the head, that rest and leadership of self, outside of the core piece of career leadership is incredibly important, right? We see almost all, I would say maybe 80 to 90% of our people are struggling with taking really good care of themselves. And what they don't realize is that is spilling over to their people. Their people are seeing them stressed. Their people are seeing them reactive, right? And sometimes, these supervisors and leaders are not making decisions, right, appropriately because they are so stressed out. So leadership of self is an absolute top priority. And so you will see that all over this page. If you are brand new to Tribe of Excellence, you will see it here every Wednesday. We have Wellness Wednesday, we have Fun Friday. To really consider leadership, professional leadership, it starts with you, right? Okay, so Sally, great job on that one. Andy talked about the team goals versus your personal goals. Yeah, really thinking about the team way before you think about yourself. What's the betterment of the team? Rhea talked about credibility, visionary, really having that long-term approach to leadership. That was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely, Sally. Yeah, and thank you for reflecting on that. That's phenomenal. Carol shared, her career took an unexpected turn, and sometimes she felt out of control, right? But one of the things that she talked about is feeling very valued. The gift that you can give other people to help them feel valued is a sign of leadership. And that's what Fitzy did for me 20 years ago, when she made me feel so valued as a team player, right? By giving me ownership of projects and ownership and respect, right? She did a great job with that. Lucy talked about being confident and potentially intimidated, right? So, how many of you are suffering from imposter syndrome? How many of you are like, should I even be a leader? Am I doing the right thing? Am I implementing the right, leadership strategies that I should be implementing? Who am I to be the leader? Are those questions that you're asking yourself? That's something to work on. Ashley says dedication to team success. Absolutely. Celia says imposter syndrome, confidence. You're not alone. Absolutely. Tanya says, not being reactive is huge. Absolutely. Especially during a pandemic. You got it. It's so important that your team have confidence that you'll stand up for them and have their backs. Absolutely, Tanya. And so how do we build that as leaders? How do we become more proactive than reactive as leaders? And one of the ways that we do it is creating this white space and creating this pause and filling our cups and taking leadership of self, making leadership of self a priority. The entire month of February, we just built out our calendar. The entire month of February, every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we are talking about this very topic. How do we create that pause? How do we become more proactive versus reactive, right? What things can we do every single day to make that happen? So that's phenomenal, Tanya. Thank you. Yeah. Fear of acceptance in a new job. That's a good one, Shani. Absolutely. That's a really, really good one. Amy, welcome. Glad that you are here. Yeah, you are not alone. You are not alone. Okay. And so Renee is phenomenal. She's a phenomenal leader. She talked about, that influence fluctuates, right? So sometimes you might feel like, yeah, I'm having a really good influential day. I'm reaching my people. And then other days you might not have that same confidence. So gifting yourself permission to be flexible in your influence, right? To make sure that you're working on this constantly, consistently, persistently, right? Not giving up, working on it consistently and persistently over time. Yes, Caroline, growth is hard, but over time, and there's going to be those ups and downs. There's going to be those, fluctuations. So Renee did a good job of pointing out that, you got to accept that there's going to be those ups and downs in terms of your influence, but it's that consistent path. Like Tanya said, it's that dependency that we know you got our back, right? Michelle talked about authenticity. Angelica talked about how do you motivate people? How do you motivate unmotivated people? Is anyone else struggling with how to motivate people who are just not motivated? So yes, this can be a big deal. How do we inspire people? How do we motivate people? So what we're talking about right now is your homework and the key characteristics that you are working to grow right now to build that influence. So one of them from Angelica was how do we motivate? And let's see, Lisa, again, difficulty motivating unmotivated employees. Lisa, yes. Michelle says this is something for you too. Disciplined when discussing with upper management, like really holding your own when making some strategy implementations or discussions with upper management, right, is a big deal. That's something that many of you are working on. So that discipline of effective communication and how not to be reactive. Yes. Shani says, I've seen motivation change through generations. Rhea says motivation is huge, especially when the group aren't working on the same levels. Right. And so, today we're going to talk about all of this, and we're going to talk about how to be thinking like that leader, to be thinking like a leader. And how do leaders think, right? How do leaders think? Erica says, holding my own is tough with my upper command staff. Yeah. And so what changes that for Erica? What changes that is becoming the CEO of your life, right? Becoming the leader of self, becoming that career leader, regardless of what your position is. Yes. Confidence, girl, confidence. Exactly, Rhea. Alex had a really good one. She said, ability to delegate. How many of you struggle with delegating? Like, you're just like, it would be easier if I just did the darn thing myself, right? So how many of you are actively working on effective delegation? How many of you say yes to so many things, and then you are the one that gets overwhelmed and you struggle with delegating it out to other folks, creating systems and processes that are effective delegation can happen. So we're going to work on that too. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Christiane talked about the proximity principle. Christiane, you're so right. Aligning yourself with people like this group, Tribe of Excellence, right? And like the programming that we have, aligning yourself with people on a regular basis. When you want to know how to, build a house, you sit with other builders and you talk and you see what works and what doesn't. What are the best practices? When you want to know how to build an analytical unit, you sit and you talk to other people who have built that analytical unit. And when you want to build your leadership, you sit and you talk with other leaders and you get involved with other leaders on a regular basis. We got a lot of great comments going here. Let's see what's happening. Let me back it up a little bit. How to deal with others that bucket you being the leader. Yeah, that's a good one. Kim, to really think about how do we deal with folks who are not happy with us being the leader. So we're going to talk about how we can do all of that. So Jen says, I bet you know more about crime analysis than they know. Use that platform as a confidence builder. You don't know how many chiefs I talk to who say, I want my analysts to have confidence. Can you just give them confidence? I don't know all the details and I don't want to know all the details. I want to know what's important to me. And that's our role as analysts. All right. And that's our role as analysts. Equal delegation, says Lisa. Yes. Shani says, I'm 36 years old. The generation older than me love to work overtime. The generation younger than me want to go home on time. Yeah. And so what do we want? How do we want our folks, to be happy, right? What's going to make them happy? Leisha, as a leader, you always need to look in the mirror and affect self-change. Yes, and that's why we are beginning with self. Yesterday was all about your own core characteristics, and today is about how to think. So we have not even begun to talk about what you can do to influence, right? To like actions outside of you. Today and yesterday are all about the inside you. So you are absolutely right, Leisha. Absolutely. Erin says, I think motivation is hard for a lot of people in the current cultural climate too. Yeah. I mean, you have people working from home. You have people who are, distant from the mission, right? And so forth. So yeah. So let's talk about creating cultural climates that are successful. Let's talk about it. I mean, you're all here. You're all here. There's 46 of you who are here right now. I'm sure that the other 50 or so who are registered, or 80 who are registered for this, they're going to be here this afternoon. So why? Why? Because we have a common goal here. We have a common goal to come together as leaders and grow our leadership. So how do we build this momentum in our agencies, in our companies, in our businesses, in our families? How do we build this momentum? So we're going to talk a lot about that. So yeah, Michelle, it is very different with the different generation expectations. Absolutely. Leader of self, Jen, yes, has to be first. Michelle says, delegating is not the problem. It's depending on people who do what is required. So delegating, I should say delegating with trust. How's that? Delegating with trust that they're going to do an excellent job. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. So Melissa says, Erica, you are the expert in your department. Melissa, I love it. She says, your admin selected you for that position for a reason. How many of you tell yourselves that? How many of you tell yourselves, I was selected for a reason. I have good things to offer here, right? Or if you're moving into management, let's say you want to take over the chief's role, or you want to take over the lieutenant's role, or you want to take over the CEO role. You know, maybe you work in a company right now and you just want to be a really good leader, that the best leader you can be, right? So what are you telling yourself every day? And so today is that. Today is what we tell ourselves and how we think ourselves into leadership. We're going to talk a lot about that today. All right, brilliant analyst. I love it. I love it. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Tanya talked about delegating being a key factor. Victor talked about external leadership. If you are a leader at work and then at home, you know, you're doing all these things that are not really good leadership qualities, like you can't fake the funk. Right? You can't fake the funk. You can't be this great leader at home, at work rather, and then go, you know, at home and you know, be so destructive or be a horrible, you know, maybe you're I don't know, setting fires. I'm kind of exaggerating at this point, but you get the idea. You have to be authentic, which was Michelle's saying earlier. You have to be authentic to who you are as a person and make that the holistic self at work and at home. So Tricia says, learning to delegate projects to my analysts according to their strengths is a quick fix, but not a solution. Everyone needs to be strong. However, training takes time. Yeah. And so how do we cross-train? And you know, and do we identify key activities for key people, right? Based on their passions, based on their skill sets, and how do we manage that as leaders, right? How do we not overload that one person who does everything really well, right? And, you know, the people who don't do things really well, we're like, nah, they're not going to get it done. So we load it on that other person. How do we make that not happen? Lisa says they have to be given the opportunity to succeed or they never will. Yes, exactly. Nick, you're phenomenal as well. Ria says that's great. So let's see. I just want to make sure I wasn't I know there was a ton of them on there. And so if I have missed you, I'm definitely going to go back and our team, hopefully. How many of you are loving what our team is doing for you? Caroline, Michelle, Jen, Ria, Angelica, how many of you are loving the support that you are getting? Let's give some love to our team right now, because honestly, I wouldn't be able to be here today. I wouldn't be creating these tools. I wouldn't be delivering these tools if I didn't have this amazing team who's supporting all of you right now. So a cheer for our team who's making this all happen. All right, so go ahead and give some hearts, loves, you know, show them some love right now. Yes. Awesome. I love it. Yes, I'm cheering for my team right now because life is not possible without them. So yay, team. All right. Okay, so today we're going to get into a couple things, but I wanted to just share with you a story. Yes. Love it. Love the spirit. It is. We have such great energy in this group. I just love it. Love it. They are phenomenal. And you all are supporting each other too. I see folks connecting from, you know, states. They know each other and maybe from different states, and they're just connecting with each other. Just phenomenal. Okay. So I want to share, you know, some of you who are saying, how do I act in leadership right now? How do I start doing the leadership thing, right? How do I make that happen? Oh, Abigail, that's fantastic. So let's see. Tanya says, this is the first time I've set some time to participate and I love it. Oh goodness. I'm so glad you love it. Yeah. Well, you get addicted, right? You get addicted to growth. I'm addicted to growth. I belong to, you know, masterminds. I have a coach. I'm addicted to the growth too. So I will say, you know, there was this woman, I used to work for the Department of Education in policy development, right? And so our job was to ensure that the entire state was in compliance with the federal reporting regulations, that they understood them, that they had buy-in relative to them, and so forth. And that we wrote policies that really supported children, right? Children learning and growing. And so, you know, so there was this woman, Eves, and she might have been 25 years old, maybe. She was just a kid. And she came in to this agency at probably like a mid-level position, not supervising anybody quite yet, I don't think, at that point. And she came in and she says, hey, Dawn, you know, you want to have lunch with a couple of friends of mine? And I said, sure, right? So I go down to the lunch table and there's, you know, the director of the entire agency sitting right here in one seat. There's me, there's my friend Eves, and then there's this, a janitor, right? She does not say, this is the janitor, this is the director, this is the upper, I'm in the air kind of person. She says, this is my friend Mike. Mike, meet Jane. Jane, this is Dawn, right? We're all real people here and we have a bigger mission, right? And we have a bigger mission. Not at one point did she minimize anyone's role or maximize it because of their positioning, right? So what a great leader. She now is the dean of a college, and she's studied in the School of England and came over here and really brought over this leadership perspective that even as a 25, maybe she was 28, I don't know, she was young. Even as a young person, she recognized that titles have nothing to do with leadership. It's about people and about making people feel of value, right? So, really thinking about how can you make people feel of value, right? Of value. Yeah, I love that you all are giving these classes your undivided attention. That's amazing. Correct, Erica, so humble, so kind. Nobody felt like, oh, I'm sitting with the director, or oh, I'm sitting with maintenance. Nobody thought those things, right? It does sound like a Tim McGraw song, right? Nobody thought those things. What they thought was, wow, look at this person who somehow brought all these people to the table, right? Who brought all these people to the table. So Jennifer says, true authenticity and really getting to know members of the team helps us as leaders know what motivates each individual. Yeah, there is no one size fits all. And you bet that that manager, that director is important in her very special way. And so is that maintenance person. And a true leader finds the value in all the people that they touch, right? And all the people that they touch. And don't dismiss anybody because, they have a particular title, right? So I wanted to share that story with you because that was a pretty significant story in my own leadership growth several years ago, many years ago. Okay. So leadership mindset. So today we're talking about how to think like a leader. What do leaders think like? And so, really things happen twice, right? Things happen twice. They first happen in your mind and then they happen in real life, right? So if you are a negative self-talker, if you're just like, ugh, I'm not good enough to be a leader, I'm not a good supervisor, what am I doing wrong? If you're negative self-talking yourself, right, then that's what you're putting out there and that's what's going to come back to you. But if you're thinking, right, if you're thinking at first that I'm going to be the most exceptional leader I can be today with the tools that I have today, and I'm going to continuously grow my leadership every day after that, then that's exactly what's going to happen, right? You're going to make these decisions. Yes, Shani, these foresights. You're going to be looking, thinking about how can I produce results? How can I create unity? How can I create vision? Stuff happens. Any supervisor you talk to has a bunch of shizzle going on right now. They have employees who are disgruntled. They have supervisors who are disgruntled, right? Okay, at different times, maybe at the same time. They have people who are underpaid. They have people who are overpaid. They have people who are not motivated. I mean, take a look around at some of the supervisors in this group. I am positive that they will tell you life is not perfect, right? And if you are receiving all of that and pushing it back into the universe, that's exactly what you're going to get. But if you're saying to yourself, oh, we're making progress, we're on a path of progress, and I'm going to be proactive today in my efforts, and here are the key things I'm going to work on. And I'm going to tell you what they are in a second. But here are the key things I'm going to work on. When you focus on your growth, when you focus on your team's growth in your mind, then it happens in reality. Right? Then it happens in reality. Yeah, Nick, exactly. Projecting positivity. So if you are thinking to yourself right now, you know what? I've fallen into the trap. I'm so overwhelmed as a manager that I know that I'm doing the wrong thing for my people. It's okay. You're in the right spot. You're here, which means you're committed to success. Okay? So, so thinking like a leader really recognizes that you have to think it in your head first. Think about who you want to be. All of those characteristics that we talked about yesterday, thinking about who you want to be as a leader. Not what you're not good at, right? Not what you're not good at, but what you want to be, thinking about what you want to be as a leader. That's what's going to get you started on this leadership journey, right? Yes, Caroline, we're really honing in on that mindset piece. You know, what shifts can we make right now that can move us from the negative thinking, right, into the positive? And so I'm gonna walk through this. You have your worksheets with you, right? And so let's just get them out there. Let's get it out, spit out your fears right now so that we can get them off the table or on the table. We can dissect them, we can chop them up, and then we can boot them back to where they belong, underground somewhere, because we're gonna move on. So let's go ahead, yes, be a systems thinker. Yeah, and we're gonna do a lot with systems in a little bit. And so what are your biggest fears regarding your own leadership, right? What are the things that trigger self-doubt in you? What are the things that trigger self-doubt in you? Is it fear of criticism, right? Do you hold back as a leader, or, you know, regardless of what position you're in, do you hold back because of fear of criticism? Running out of energy. Erica says failure. Trisha says fear of failure. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. Who fears failure, right? Jen says, they say dress for the job that you want. Yes, it applies to mindset. Yes, get that little suit on in your mindset. Exactly. Trish says a fear is producing the wrong results. Yes, who wants to do that? Not understanding new technology. Yeah, Lisa, you're on it. Ria says, right, for those who don't understand analysis. What are the fears here? Mallory, a lot of great ideas or good vision. To organize my thoughts or putting a plan into simple action. Yeah, we can help with that simple action, Mallory. Yes, I get that. I love the idea of plan. Michelle says political agendas with the agency. Yeah, that could be a trigger. Absolutely. Nick says fear, letting my work take more time away from my family and friends. I think there's a lot of managers and supervisors who are in that position. We're going to shift that for you. Melissa, I'm not X enough, right? I'm not smart enough. I'm not skilled enough. I'm not articulate enough. Right. Those things that we tell ourselves. Abigail says, my self-doubt, failure, and not getting another chance. Yes, so many people think this is my only chance. Oh my gosh, I've screwed up so many things in my world. I really have. And I always find other opportunities. When you're looking for them, they are there. I left my full-time law enforcement job about, 6 or 7, maybe years ago at this point. And I remember people thinking I was nuts. They're like, there's no opportunity out there. What are you going to do? How are you going to do this? And, and when you open yourself up to opportunity, all of a sudden they're everywhere. Right? When you open yourself up to it, you will always get another chance. Rachel says, being the only female in a male-dominated field with promotion opportunities. That's a big one. I was just talking to a woman today who is the same thing. She's an OM. She works for a construction company. She's in a pretty male-dominated, environment, and that in and of itself is a challenge for her and for many, right? Annie says lack of motivation. Yeah. Leisha says being seen as a micromanager instead of an effective delegator. That's a big one. How can we be seen as an effective delegator? Absolutely. Kaylee says not being taken seriously. Oh my gosh, I meet so many line workers who are just like, I'm so young, I could never, no one would ever take me seriously. Or maybe they've been in one role for a long period of time and people don't take them very seriously to do anything else. That's a big one. Yeah, Kaylee. Trisha says the expectation that I'm supposed to know and learn new things instantly. Yes. And so how do we learn from that? How do we set these fears aside? And I'm going to show you how in a second. Annie says burnout. Yes, that translates into negativity. Yes, Annie, burnout. When you are doing all the work of your analysts, when you are doing all the work of your employees, and then you become burnout because you don't have time for that visionary work, right? You get burnt out. Ashley says failing and being discredited because of it. Yeah, that's a big fear. Being misunderstood. Yes, being not heard, especially when it's important. Getting out of comfort zone and becoming more extroverted. Yeah, that's a scary thing, Alex, right? Red car idea. Exactly, Michelle. When you put the opportunity in your mind, then all of a sudden your brain is really smart. It starts looking for these things. It starts finding them. All of a sudden you start finding these opportunities. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe the amount of opportunity that's out there. I was talking to a business owner who's looking to build, her business, and she's like, oh, I don't know, if there's enough clients. I'm like, what? There's millions of people, billions of people. There are plenty of people who are going to want your services, right? But we can't see beyond what's in front of us. We can't see from these lenses sometimes, because these are the same lens. We can't see long term from these lenses sometimes, because they're the lenses that got us to this one place. But we need new lenses to get us to that other place. And that's what we're talking about. Yes, space and opportunity. We learn and grow from our failures. Yes. Fear of being looked at as unproductive. Yes, exactly. Fail forward. You got it. You guys are all getting it. Embrace the introvert. We're going to go back to all of these comments and make sure that you're all supported. Nick says, fear falling behind in my workload. Oh my gosh, that is literally almost everybody's fear, right? You try something, you don't have enough time to try something new. So how the heck are you going to squeeze it in? How are you going to squeeze that in? Yes, this is the stuff. So these are the fears. Some other fears, public speaking. There are folks who stutter or get nervous when they're talking, right? We are in front of like a CEO or a chief or maybe a politician, and we're like, I don't know the answers, right? Shani says fear of ruining someone's reputation. Yeah. So what fears stump your leadership growth is what we're talking about right now. Fear of personal responsibility. Does anyone fear looking in the mirror sometimes and you're kind of afraid of what you're going to see, right? You're afraid of looking in the mirror and finding out what you're going to see. We have a leadership program, and last night, I think, what's today? Yes, last night we had our meeting, and we have role play. And so one of the people who were doing the role play was really having to take a hard look at, what her contribution, she's a supervisor, what her contribution was to the problem, right? And sometimes looking in the mirror is really hard, right? So is that a fear of yours? Imposter syndrome is a big fear of a lot of people, right? Feeling like, what am I even doing in this position? Should I even be here? I don't belong here. I'm not the one, right? That kind of thing. Tanya says, fear of having your vision and ideas overlooked. Yeah, like what if you spend all this time creating vision and nobody takes it seriously, right? And nobody takes it seriously. Andy says, regarding public speaking, taking a week-long course, a 1 day or 2 course usually won't cut it. You took a 40-hour course that involved an in-depth analysis of speaking. Fantastic. Yeah. And so you made some improvements that way. And so, the thing to really think about when you are thinking about leadership mindset is, that's a good one, Leisha. Fear of becoming stagnant. Yes, we had Alex. You can probably relate to that, right? You don't want to get bored or stagnant, or you're not appealing anymore, right? And or you're not producing quality, and you want some excitement in there, right? Fear of having to toe the company line when you don't believe in it. Ooh, that's tough. That's a tough one. So thinking about when we are driven by fear, and I will tell you, one of my biggest fears that I struggled with was a scarcity mindset. So I was and am a single mom for years and years and years and years. And so everything financial is on my shoulders, right? And my daughter's in private schools. I own my house, and I was scared to make decisions and scared to piss people off. Because I was living in this scarcity mindset of money. What if they fire me? What am I going to do? My kid won't go to this private school. I'll lose my house. Like I was just like, I won't find a job fast enough. And I was living in that scarcity mindset of money, right? And that was my fear. My fear was not having enough, right? And so when we live in any of these fears, it stops us from making real quality decisions. And it wasn't until I was able to say, you know what? I'm going to fall, probably, like maybe, right? But sure as heck, I'm going to pick myself back up. And I know that what's happening right here in this particular part of my world is not right. And I'm going to change it regardless of how hard I fall. because I know that it's the right thing to do. And when I opened that door and didn't live in that scarcity mindset anymore, that fear that was holding me back, opportunities came. They continue to come. They continue to come. And so, when you release the fears, right, so much comes. So let's just go ahead and look at some of these comments here. Kaylee says, something that goes hand in hand is not having enough time to do the job, but just because we haven't done the job for 20 years doesn't mean that we should be overlooked. Yeah. Everyone is so inspirational. This is terrific. So what we're learning here is this living in this fear, right? Whatever this fear is for you, whether it's imposter syndrome, whether it's I don't know enough, whether it's I can't speak well enough in front of people, whether I'm just afraid to make some bad decisions. Like, what if my decisions fall flat on their face and I lose my credibility, right? I'll tell you, 90% of the time, 99% of the time, you care more than anybody else does. And so when you fall, yes, Trisha, failure is a part of life regardless of how you plan not to, right? So here's the thing with leaders. Here's the shift, and I'm about to hand it to you, right? Here's one of the key shifts that leaders, this is how they think. Leaders look for ways to fail. Leaders look for opportunities to fail, okay? Because the more you fail, the more you grow and succeed. Leaders look for opportunities to get uncomfortable, right? To stretch their legs, to do things that other people haven't done before, right? So what do we got here? The fear you experience in your mind will likely be worse than what the reality is. Yes, Erin, exactly. What you fear in here will likely be a heck of a lot worse than the reality of it. So you screw up, right? So what do you do when you screw up as a leader, right? Let's just say the worst thing happens and you fall flat on your face. What do? You exercise vulnerability. Hey, I tried something new. It didn't work. Let's pick up the pieces, figure out what we learned from it, and develop another strategy, right? Exactly. Lisa says a lot of times it's because they don't know exactly what they want. Yep, exactly. Right? So you're the worker or maybe you're the supervisor and the people out here don't know what they really want. So communication is key for sure. Yeah. People's opinions of me are none of my business. I like it, Keith. Yeah. Mallory says the more you fail, the higher the probability of winning. Exactly. Leaders look for opportunities to try new things. Leaders look for opportunities to be innovative, right? It's consistency, it's persistency. Now, I'm not saying change things and do things upside down every single time. I mean, you need to have that consistency and that persistency. But the way that you're thinking is, what can I do to solve this problem? Who do I need to bring into this solution process to find a solution, right? How can we work together, even if it's differently? So for instance, at a police agency, let's say you have a bunch of burglaries in the downtown area. The old school way of thinking was saturate, right? Just get everybody down there and just get them focused, right? And so the thought behind it is, this is what we've done for 30 years, and this is what we know how to do, and this is just the way it is. Who are you to come in and tell me anything differently, right? But when you use information to drive those strategies, right, even if you're not heard quite yet, when you use information to drive those strategies, you're actually creating efficiency because you're not sending people to a location all day long. You might be sending them between 2,200 and 200 hours, right, during the peak activity. And you might be sending them to a specific predicted area that you think that suspects are going to hit again, right? And so your efforts are become data driven, but that's not accepted everywhere. Or even believed everywhere. So you might be fighting against the grain until you get a really good success story. And then all those failures don't matter. The success does, right? Yes, take on the challenge, accept responsibility when you screw up. Vulnerability is a key factor in leadership. When you can really just be vulnerable and not point the fingers, right? And be, it didn't turn out the way that I wanted to, but we're going to learn and we're going to grow. What can we do better next time? Exactly. Admitting you fail. Yes. Okay. So the mindset shift here is really taking those fears, recognizing what your fears are, owning your fears, right? Owning your fears. Really owning what you fear and saying to yourself, this is what I'm going to work on. So if, like Keith, he's been slapped down over and over again, then, maybe the thought in Keith's head is, what can I do to improve my thinking about this, right? How can I continue to find opportunities to succeed? How can I continue to serve and find opportunities to succeed? Okay. So the thinking, that leadership mindset, whatever your fear is, fear of failing, fear of imposter syndrome. For me, it was scarcity mindset, right? Fear of not having enough, right? Once you let go of whatever your fear is, it is unbelievable how things open up for you, right? It is unbelievable how things open up. Yes, leadership of self. Absolutely. Okay, so that's the first shift, is really recognizing your fears, owning them, and looking yourself in the mirror and demanding that you yourself are going to change your fears and not live out of fear, but think yourself first into success. Yes, true leadership of self. Absolutely. Yeah. Mallory says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Yes, exactly. I mean, think about Michael Jordan's story, right? Didn't make it to the teams. He didn't make it to varsity when he wanted to, right? Imagine if he would have just said, nah, I'm not good enough. We would be in a different world right now. We really would. Michael Jordan's pretty awesome, right? So that's the first step. And the second piece to really think about here is, leadership, right? Leaders are not created overnight. You're not created overnight. Great leaders think positively, and you think about these 4 things. So if you are following along in your book, in your little packet, my hope is that, I know, I love the office too. My hope, right, is that you are scribbling down a bunch of notes right now, because I'm going to tell you exactly what a leader thinks. Okay, so knowing that it happens in your mind first is key. Knowing that leadership is not created overnight, which is why we should not wait until we are in a supervisory position. If you're already there, don't worry, we're still gonna work with you. we're gonna make it happen for you too. But you really want to start your leadership at any level where you are right now, whatever that title is. Okay. Because it does not happen overnight. I think about, I've been in leadership coaching programs for years now, trying to perfect, not necessarily perfect, but progress, right? And so thinking about, what are the steps that I'm taking on a regular basis to have that proximity next to people who are leaders? I think about our last night's leadership. We have a leadership program. I'm thinking about our group last night, the 12 of us. These are people who are leaders of divisions, who are looking to, or aspiring leaders who are looking to meet once a week and grow their leadership. Like, how phenomenal. So your mind gets filled with all this leadership language. Phenomenal. So what are you doing? What podcasts are you listening to? What books are you reading? Lisa's looking for mentors. Yes. Think and Grow Rich, thinking about that's a book by Napoleon Hill. Great leadership books, right? What books are you reading? What people are you in proximity to? What coaching do you have? What masterminding, what mentorship are you in on a regular basis? Because it does not happen overnight. This thinking takes time. Consistent, persistent, over time. That's when you'll see the success, okay? And so I think it was Leisha, she said, so ensure those people, a leader is, let's see, so let me just back up for a second. Leisha talked about in the notes, planning, organizing, implementing, and reviewing. These are some things that leaders think about. And I just want to highlight that because yes, leaders plan, leaders think before they respond, leaders assess constantly. That's the cycle. Okay. Yes, Jen, the tribe is here to offer you mentorship. Absolutely. So who's ready for the 4 concepts? Who's ready for the 4 things that you as a leader want to think about on a daily basis? You can get a little sticky and write these things down, put them on your desk, things that a leader thinks about on a daily basis. Who's ready to get the first thing that we think about as leaders on a regular basis? I see a bunch of you here today. If you're listening to the replay right now, go ahead and type in replay. And if you're listening to the live right now, go ahead and type in me or live and let me know that you are ready to jump on in. Leisha says, avoid the paralysis of analysis. Yes, refocus, regroup, re-energize. Refocus, regroup, re-energize. Repeat, right? Christiane is ready. Michelle's ready. A bunch of you are ready to rock and roll. Here's how to think like a leader. Lily is here live. Fantastic. Mallory's ready. Okay. Carol, oh my gosh, I just adore Carol. Any of you, who knows Carol Fitzgerald? You just go ahead and give her some love right now. Carol Fitzgerald is one of those amazing people. She is not a titled supervisor, but she's been running the Massachusetts Association of Crime Analysts group for years and years and years, working on the board rather, who runs that team, which is amazing. So give some shout out to Carol. She's pretty freaking phenomenal. All right, you all are ready to think about the four things that great leaders think about on a regular basis. I love it. Chris is here. Kim, Jen, yeah, rocking it out live. Carolyn, heck yeah. Here we go. So the number one thing that leaders think about on a regular basis is vision. Where is my unit? Where is my team? Where am I going? We regularly think about vision. Where am I going to be a year from now? 3 years from now? And we set up these goals, these quarterly, usually goals, around our bigger vision. Where is your group going? If you don't know where you're going, how the heck are you going to tell your team? How are you going to create buy-in? How are you going to create that shared vision, right? Keith, vision. Create vision, right? Create vision, right? So really being able to understand where you are going as a team, That's the number one thing. So yes, a vivid vision. So a vivid vision looks out 3 years and you write it down. If you, several of you are in law enforcement, what do you want your analytical unit to look like a year from now, 3 years from now? Right? If you are, in, banking, I think there were a few of you, or construction, what do you want? Like, what's the production look like? What's the end goal look like? And how is this group going to contribute to that bigger vision? Right? Yes, Caroline, we do. We talk about vision all the time. Where are we going as a vision? What's our vision? And when you become crystal clear about your vision, guess what happens? All of a sudden, your team becomes more clear in this buy-in, your internal team. Your external team now understands you better because you understand you better and you're all pointed and moving in the right direction. Yes, think strategically. Where are you going? Get everybody on that shared vision. That's number one. Anytime I work with a group, I'm working with a group right now, actually about 4 groups right now, but working with folks right now, that's the number one thing. Where are we going? And does everybody know it? Does everyone know where we're going? Okay. Do you know where you're going? Right? As a leader, do you know where your team is going? Right? Do you know what you want them to be producing? Do you know, do you want them fully integrated? Like, what do you want? We actually have in our website, Excellence in Analytics, we have a blog section. We haven't updated it in a little while. I should put some more articles in there, but we have a short little article about creating your vision. And so maybe if one of you want to go find it on a different browser, it's excellenceinalytics.com. And then you can just click on the blog section and there's create your vision, right? So it'll talk to you a little bit about how to create this vision if you haven't already done this already. So that's the first thing. That's the key concept that leaders are always thinking ahead. Leaders are always thinking ahead, okay? Number two, let's see, can't be out here trying to figure it out like Helen Keller. That's, oh my gosh, yes, you're deleted. You're deleted, Michelle. No, you get it. You really have to have an understanding of where you want your team to go, okay? Number two, the second thing that leaders are always thinking about, results. Is everything that's leaving my office or my employee's office producing results, right? Or is it busy work? What are the results producing activities? The results producing, reports or products. If you own a business and you sell, let's say you sell, clothing and blankets. If the blankets are not producing any results, then stop producing the blankets, right? If no one's buying the blankets, then stop making the blankets. Make the hats that everyone's buying, right? Make the hats that everyone's buying. Some of you who are in law enforcement, you have your analysts producing 50,000 reports and feeling like they're bleeding at the knuckles because they don't even know, what value it's providing. Figure out the purpose of each thing that's leaving the office and ask, is it producing results? And if it's not, boot it, right? Or recreate it so that it is creating results. So leaders are always thinking about results. Living this 80-20 lifestyle, spending 80% of your time on the 20% of activities that move you into success. What are those 20%? So leaders are always thinking about, what are my results-driven activities, okay? If something is better, how do we make it even 1% better? If something is working, how can we make it 1% better? If it's working, then go with it, right? Continual product review, exactly. SWOT analysis is often needed. And so maybe you simply make a list of all the things that you produce, and then in a second column, you write out the audience who receives that product or that service or that activity. And then in another column, you write out its purpose. What's the purpose of this thing? Is it supposed to drive decisions? What is it supposed to do? And then you indicate whether or not it's doing that, right? Whether or not it's actually doing that, okay? So rinse, we have this idea of once you find that 20% of results, you rinse. And that's really what Alicia was talking about is, rinsing, tightening up, repeating. Rinsing, tightening up, repeating. And that's how you get your 1% better. That's how you wash your cottage cheese, right? You get that little 1% better. It's a compound effect. So you identify your results. You identify that 80-20. You identify what's producing 80% of your results. What activities? What are the 20% of activities that are producing those things? And then you get expert on those 20 things, those 20%. So Shani says use quantity and quality results where it's necessary. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we have those two things. Vision. Your leaders are always thinking about vision. Leaders are always thinking about results. How can I produce more results or have my team produce more quality results? So, everyone is killing it. I see the ideas flowing and I'm trying to catch them as they come in. Keep on going with all these ideas. They're great. They're fantastic. We're going to wrap up with the last two and then you're going to have your homework. Okay. So here we go. Number 3, leaders. Number 3, and if you're not getting feedback, then a feedback loop is where your attention might be. Right? And so we have lots of tools that we use in our programs to really create that feedback loop so that we are regularly receiving feedback and so that we are implementing processes and systems of feedback, and growth, right? So if you are pushing it out there and you're like, I never get anything back. Okay, well, fine. Then you need to do more to increase that feedback loop, right? And we have plenty of tools that can help you do that, all right? Because that's a real thing. A lot of people say, I just never hear from anyone whether or not this is working. So I don't know how to measure my results. We have tools that can help you do that. So number 3, rising others. Leaders are regularly thinking about opportunities to rise other people. Your job as a leader is to nourish your team, to create culture, and not just use them when you need something from them. Your job is to know your team, know your culture, whether or not you are the manager. One key thing is to rise other people. And we have someone in our group, Andrew. I'll call him out here. He is phenomenal about building relationships, and we're going to work on building relationships on Friday and Saturday and even on Monday. So we're going to work on this piece of it. But really your job, leaders' mindset, we're thinking about mindset right now, not doing, just the mindset is, who can I rise? Who can I rise? Who can I rise? When you are looking for the positivity in other people, you will rise them. You will find it, right? Recognize the good job. Exactly, Victor. This is what leadership is about. Creating the vision, looking at the results, right, regularly, and rising others. So let's see, find successes, exactly. Find opportunities to highlight successes, right? Highlight successes. So rising others is key. This is key in leadership. You will feel differently. The people around you will feel differently. When you nominate somebody, and Jen, I know you've had some really good experience. You found opportunities to nominate people around their greatness, right? You can nominate them through some programs that you have at work. Maybe you have, like a highlight this person, person of the week, person of the year, whatever it might be, right? It doesn't have to be anything formal. It could be sitting down and going out for lunch and having a conversation and be like, you're nailing it this week. You're doing great this week. Your product was phenomenal. You have, like being really specific about what they were doing well. Finding opportunities to rise people. Trisha says, even if you're not responsible for the rise, yes, acknowledging them. Exactly. No, and so that's the thing. And that's a key thing, Trisha, is that, leadership, it doesn't necessarily mean it's your responsibility now as a supervisor to rise people. Yes, you should, right? But you don't have to be a supervisor to rise somebody today. You could get off this call and think about one person that you just want to text or shout out and be like, this is an amazing rock star on my team. And if you are the supervisor, what systems do you have in place? What systems do you have in place, right? To really recognize the growth and the movement of your people and the people outside of your people, right? Yeah, there's some really good ideas. Victor, Michelle, all kinds of fun. Lisa's has some good ideas here too. Okay. So, and the last thing we're thinking about, right? So this is number 4. So we have vision, results, rising others. And number 4 is legacy, right? Legacy, right? Legacy. How do we build legacy? So we want to be thinking, we're going to talk about building legacy and the key things that we can do. But right now we want to be thinking, how do I build legacy? Through systems, through rising people, through quality, through process documentation, through all of these things. We want to build legacy through developing your people, thinking about your people right now. Who is the next leader that you are developing? All of them should be, right? All of them. But who is the next person you're rising in leadership? Who are you developing, right? All of your people should have professional development roadmaps. If you are a supervisor, your people should have professional development roadmaps. That means that they've identified, and you've helped them, identified where you all are going, right, as the vision, what skills and passions they have that they're going to improve over the next 6 to 12 months, and exactly how they're going to reach those projections or those goals. Right? So thinking about how do I build legacy? These are things that people think about. So if you want to write out these words and put them on a sticky so that you're regularly thinking about them: vision, results, rising others, and legacy, right? And legacy. And so we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about what we do as leaders. Right now we're talking about what we're thinking. So the first day we started off with our own inventory of what we want to be, right? So if you missed that, go back to day 1. It's in unit 1. And today we're talking about how we think like leaders, right? How we can process and think. We release our fears and we focus on these 4 core things: vision, results, rising others, and legacy. Systems and legacy, right? So we focus on those things. And then tomorrow we're going to really dive into what we do. Right now we know how we're thinking. Now what do we do? Yeah, Alicia, when folks are not motivated, and how do we make that happen? Yeah, so we're going to talk about that too. Legacy, the reputation you leave behind. Exactly. We will have more meetings till we find out why nothing is, I think that there's different approaches. And so I think, Keith, for you, this might be an opportunity for you to really think like a leader for them. How can you, at your level, think like a leader? How can you create vision? How can you create opportunities to rise other people, thinking about the results and thinking about that legacy? Because you can't change other people without changing yourself first. So you really got to look hard in the mirror, as did I. I had to look hard in the mirror and said, Dawn, why can't you move forward? Why can't you say no, right? And it was because of this fear that I had around not having enough. So look your fears in the mirror, look your own self-doubt or negativity in the mirror, and really figure out, how can I shift my own thinking, right, to set me up for this foundation that we're talking about and build my leadership. This is going to take time and commitment. Time and commitment. So you all showed up today, so you get a red star, but we are going to announce our winner, right? And the winner is going to be someone who is live right now. So if you've had friends who've popped off, or if you want someone to be the winner, you know that we stand for leadership of wellness and leadership of self. So we're gonna give a little leadership of self gift here. To really push through this mindset piece, Yeah, just because they call the meeting doesn't understand, yes, exactly, Michelle, you got it. That deserves a t-shirt. It sure does. And so if someone popped off, just click the little invite button and invite them back on. If you think that this program, this series is helpful, it's not too late for other people to join. Send them a link and have them join on in, right? The more the merrier. The more people who are equipped with foundational leadership, the better. The better agencies will have, the better companies will have, the better baseline we'll have, and we'll be able to be productive together, right? This is a way of thinking. So leadership of self, here we go. Yeah, I just love it. I love it. I love it. There we go. Yeah. So let's talk about who is the leadership of self winner. So we have this little kit right here. I don't know if you can see it too well, but in it we have Happy Muscle Lotion, right? Taking really good care of yourself, and Happy Bath Salt, feet salts, right? And so we're going to send out this little wellness package to you. So whoever's name I announce right now, you're going to reach out to Michelle Leigh, Leigh, and she's going to record where you want this sent. Okay, she's going to record where you want this sent, wherever you feel comfortable. It could be your work, it could be your home, wherever you feel comfortable. I will mail it personally to wherever you feel comfortable. So reach out to her, whoever the winner is here. So Alicia, Vision, Results, Rise Others, Legacy. Caroline, perfect timing. Yes, time for growth, time for change. Yes, Michelle is right there. So, this is an opportunity to rise you right now. Rise you for showing up. Who is ready to show up tomorrow? Tomorrow is what leaders do. Who's ready to go do your homework? Get these fears off your plate, write down your reflections, right? So the homework is going to be in the thread, in the Unit 1 thread right after this. And so, it's talking about what are your own fears, right? What are your own fears around your leadership, and how do you want to think like a leader? And if you want to throw in an image to make it fun, Carol, you were so fun. She threw in Martin Luther King yesterday. If you all want to throw in an image of your homework, or an image of something you doing to rise, you doing to shift your fears, to really shift the mindset, you go ahead and make it fun. Just make it fun. Yes, look at all you folks who are coming back for day 3 of what leaders should do to really continue this mindset piece here. All right, so I'm just going to I'll scroll the little screen here, and then whoever comes up, I will just say that name. Are you guys ready? Everyone's here, ready, committed. And so I'm just going to scroll it down, and wherever it lands, it may land. Okay, so the winner today is Michelle Wentz, Wentz. You are the winner of our little wellness packet here, this leadership of self packet. So go ahead and congratulate Michelle. Michelle, reach out to the other Michelle, Leigh, Leigh, Leigh. Congratulations to you, Michelle. I'm excited for you. And you know what? Look at that. She said, pick me, and I did. We did. Congratulations, Michelle, and congratulations to each of you. Your growth in just 1.5 days has been phenomenal. Has been absolutely phenomenal. If you feel like you are growing, if you feel like this is valuable, share this. This is 100% free. You can share this with other supervisors or people who are growing in leadership. Right? In leadership. And remember the 4 key things: thinking about vision, results, rising others, and legacy. Building the systems that are going to really create that legacy that you're thinking about. All right, so we're going to pop off now. Thank you all for your amazingness, and we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. I can't wait to see your homework. Thank you again to our amazing team who's been really supporting you throughout this whole thing. And so we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. All right, see you then.